Hi, Alan.
Okay, so I'm on the phone with Rita, and so I had to start this because she was going to start it,
Yeah,
but she can't. She doesn't see. What can't you see? What can't you see, Rita? Well, if you click on the blue thing with the camera on it, that's the application. That should open up with a page that has the time in the upper right-hand corner, and it's got four kind of oblong square shape around the corners, things on the left-hand side. Back to meeting, join, schedule, or share. And you're not seeing that. No, this is on a Zoom application on your computer.
right. Open Zoom, go to
Oh, hang on a
zoom.us.
second. Wait a minute, Linda's saying something. What?
Did she go to zoom.us?
Well, that's the whole issue right now. I don't think she did.
Yeah, so that's what you have to do to get started.
Yeah, so she
To
can,
join a meeting. Yep.
but she should have it on her computer.
If she's got the app, but if she just goes to zoom.us, it should get started.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. So, right. So, one minute.
Yeah.
Yeah, the meeting ID is that 317 number. I don't see you though. Oh, okay, all right.
And you have to put the password in.
No, wait, 075. 075486. Yep. Oh yeah, I see you.
There she is.
Okay, I'm gonna hang up. Oops. Okay, well, three of us are here anyway.
Yeah, we need one more.
I haven't heard from anybody.
I know Elaine is aware.
You're muted, Rita.
Okay, there we go.
Okay, so either you did it or I did it.
Yeah, it was probably me. I was on that call this morning on the, the grant that we have, that Shutesbury has. So I was on for a 2-hour call.
Wow.
I know. And then I'm trying to do a bunch of stuff for the town of Amherst too.
Looks like you're eating supper too.
I'm eating my supper too. So Elaine knows, right? You said
Yes,
that?
she does. Yeah.
Oh, somebody's coming. All right, Chris.
Chris.
Yay. Hi, Chris.
I can't unmute you for some reason. Why can't I?
If you go to, oh, and there's Michael.
Here's Michael. Oh, okay, Chris is on.
Michael.
I should be unmuted now.
Yeah, you are.
Okay, good.
Michael is not. I thought.
Unmuted now.
Yeah, there you are.
Yep, good.
Okay, so who are we missing? We're missing Margie
Margie and Elaine.
and Elaine. Want to wait a few minutes?
And not too long because we should get started, but.
So it's important to remind everybody that we have to do roll call vote, and we should try to remember to say our name before we speak once we get started.
Right. Hey, Rita, you had the thing we're supposed to read, right?
Yep, I'm going to. As soon as we get the meeting started, do you want to call the meeting to order, Alan, and then we'll.
Who's going to take minutes? Well, we have the recording. Do we have to take?
Yes.
Linda,
Yes.
we do?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. What I'm going to read is what was recommended by,
So who's going to do it? Me?
so yeah, if you'll chair, Alan,
Okay.
that would be great.
Well, you're going to have to read the thing because I don't.
I will.
have the
I've got it.
Okay.
Okay, so following the governor's restrictions on public meetings, this meeting is being held virtually using zoom.com, remote participation only. The public may access it following the instructions on this meeting's agenda posted on the town calendar. If, despite our best efforts, we are not able to provide real-time access, the public can request a recording of this meeting by contacting the town clerk.
Great. So we called the meeting to order around 7:02 or something?
7:04.
7:04, that's fine. Okay, the first item on the agenda is the minutes from the previous meeting. I'm not exactly sure how to handle this. I've got corrections. Anybody else gone through it?
I haven't looked at it yet.
Yeah, I was neglectful. I apologize.
Me too.
Well, I wonder if we can fire these guys from the meeting. But even if you did that something, I'm not quite sure how Linda, how are other committees handling this? Do you know?
So one thing we want to make sure to do is just give a roll call vote of who's here, because if someone's listening later to the audio, they won't know necessarily who we are. So
Okay.
I'm Linda Ava Scott. I'm here.
Rita Farrell, member.
Alan Hansen, chair, co-chair.
Michael Viera, member.
And Chris Donta, member.
So to answer your question, in other meetings I've been to, Conservation Commission and Select Board, etc. So when we review the minutes, if someone has like we do the usual thing, make a motion, second, and then discuss the minutes. So if there's recommended changes, then that's when you would do it like we would normally in a meeting.
So we're all going to give Rita our changes to the minutes online? As opposed to-
You would give them verbally, but Elaine's not here, and so she would have the minutes because she did them.
Well, I mean, they're here in the Word document. I've got it open, so.
Yeah, so so changes could be noted and made.
All right, I see one under point 2A, number 2, it says Doug Slaughter, but it says it's written Doe Slaughter, D-O-U-G-H.
It's under two what, 2A?
Yeah, under 2A, Roman numeral 2, how is the budget created? Response by,
Got it, Doug.
Oh, Doe
Next
Slaughter,
page.
yeah, I see that.
I'll make these changes.
Okay. Why don't you continue, Chris?
I'll keep looking.
And Alan, you had some, right? You said?
Yeah, I have a bunch. Want me to do mine?
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, Alan.
So number 1E, have already researched that it is legal to use CPA funds as long as they are not used for artificial turf. It says right now, didn't use.
Yep.
Okay. There was no attached budget. There was no attached Excel spreadsheet on my document.
That's referenced somewhere, but where is it referenced?
Oh, I'm sorry. On
Is that 2?
yeah, it's 2A. Number 1, see attached budget, which wasn't there.
Okay.
And in 2A2, about 4 lines, 5 lines down, in the attached Excel spreadsheet is a link to the state's designation of you, but there's no attached Excel.
Got it.
And those should be with the minutes when they go into the website.
So do you want me to take those references out since they weren't there, or do you want to add the budget?
No, if we use them at the meeting, so there should be additional documents used in
Attached to
minutes.
the minutes.
right?
Yes.
That's the way we
Okay.
usually do that. So when we post the minutes, we'll post those as
Got it.
ancillary documents or something.
Okay, so there's no change, you're just noting it.
Right, I'm just noting they're not there. Okay, so now on page 2 of the minutes, the first paragraph has to do with the regional school committee. And the last paragraph has the finance of the regionals in it. It says that the regional district owns the land, blah, 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 end the paragraph. Then the next thing is B, second request from Jeff Lacy.
Right. It's not really a request. It's a suggestion.
A second, though?
I think she was,
Oh,
what
we
she was saying,
seconded
she was
this-
saying Amherst Regional School Track was the first, but that was really, it was a suggested use of CPA funds. Because remember, we were in the kind of hearing
Yeah,
stage
right.
too. So these were,
Why don't I make A suggested use number 1 and I can make B suggested use number 2?
well, A is actually a formal request. So we do
Okay.
have the request. So it's really, this was the second part of the meeting, which was, we had a request, but now it's like future uses of CPA funds.
Yeah, this is sort of a whole conversation on ideas for new projects here,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And so that belongs here, but there's, or it shouldn't be B. I mean, it should be a new title there.
Yeah, it
That
should be a new
says-
title.
Discussion of
Yeah.
ideas for new project or something,
Right.
Okay, got it.
right? And then
And then
And then
one
this
would
would-
be.
this would be
Summit
A.
Park, Or, yeah, then the inquiry from Pioneer Valley Habitat for Humanity, and then the
Would
third
be
was
B.
the walking path.
and then the walking path. So A, B, and C there, Michael.
Right.
Yep,
Okay, so now, in the second, under the current format, B, second request from Jeff Lacy, that paragraph, the line that stars have to be researched and owners approached. You see it?
yep.
Okay, so the next sentence says, I think this would be a fine asset.
Jeff thinks.
Jeff believes.
Jeff, yeah, Jeff.
Jeff
thinks-
suggests.
Or the committee thinks or something, I don't know.
Right.
Okay, and then under C, inquiry from Pioneer Valley Habitat for Humanity to have money for the construction, to
Yeah.
request money for the construction or
Yeah,
something.
to
like that.
request money.
Okay. Then down at the bottom of the page, closing the public hearing at 7:01, we should say closed at 7:01. You see that? You see it, like, yep. Okay, and then 3 should be approved meeting minutes of September 23rd. Approved, because we approved them, we didn't. I think, right?
Yes, we did.
Yeah, so we should say approved, not approved. Anyway, that's it.
Yeah.
for me.
Good.
It would be important to have, who did the minutes on there.
Right, that was the other thing, right. I did have a little question mark there at the top.
Who did them?
Was it Elaine?
Yeah, it was Elaine, I guess. Yeah, yes, right, she sent them to me. Yep. Anybody else?
Oh, and I just have one quick thing about your formatting suggestion, just so I got it right. Going back to the request versus the suggestions. So the request for CPNs for the school, you want to be number 1? Is that what I got?
Well, we're under number 2 here, right?
Yeah. Or A.
2A is the Amherst Regional School Track. We shouldn't say
Yep.
starting with.
No, yeah, I got rid of that.
Yeah, okay, good.
I just said request for CPA funds, Amherst Regional School Track.
Right, and then B would be a Summit Park suggestion from Jeff Lacy or something like that.
Yeah. That would be its own category, which is suggested uses for future CPA funds.
Right, And
Okay.
then
Yeah.
also C and D are.
And then community garden was the last one because that showed up as E at the bottom.
Okay.
Well, C is the inquiry from Pioneer Valley Habitat. And then D.
We had the conversation about the walking path.
D is
We
the
had the walking path, and then the community garden is the last one.
Oh, yeah, right. Oh, after your, so this paragraph should be, well, no, maybe it's okay. It's just kind of odd being in the middle. Where it
Yeah,
says
maybe it should be the community garden, then put the paragraph, can CPA
Yeah,
funds be
yeah,
used
right.
to engage?
Yeah, I think so. So you got that, Michael?
Not fully.
Okay, so you see in D where it says creation of a walking path?
That's what I'm looking for right now.
Okay, it's the last one under the ideas for new projects.
Yes. Okay, got it.
Okay, then there's a thing that says, can CPA funds be used?
Yep,
Just move that below E,
got it.
because
Okay.
it's kind of odd right in the middle of a list like that, just a question out of the blue.
Yep.
Okay, anything else? Okay, so now we take a roll call vote, Linda, on A or yay? Nay?
Yes.
Okay, let's do a roll call.
We should move for, I'll move to approve the minutes of March 12th, 2020.
Okay, thank you. I thought we
Second, Rita seconds.
so let's go through. Michael, vote.
Aye.
Chris, vote.
Aye.
Rita, vote.
Aye.
Linda?
Abstain. I was absent.
Okay. And Alan Hansen, yes. So we have 4 yeses and 1 abstention.
Passes resoundingly.
Okay. That's what I like, is the optimism. Okay, is everything okay with it, everybody? Okay,
Yep.
so
Good.
Chris?
Good.
The next item on the agenda is review of the warrant articles. Everybody should have a copy of this. Everybody should except me. What the hell are they doing? Oh, there they are. That's this thing. Can anybody actually see that?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay,
That-
I'm gonna hold it up to show that it exists.
It was an
All right.
attachment in your email.
Yeah, it's in the, you had, Alan, all the attachments were in the email, so.
All the attachments, you should have all the attachments.
Have it up.
So does anybody have any comments on the warrant articles?
No, the only thing that I would
I was gonna ask you that.
add is, so there's been an inquiry, although I haven't seen anything in writing, but apparently the town, and I believe Becky, was contacted by the Franklin County Regional Housing and Redevelopment Authority about whether or not the town had any interest in participating in a emergency rental assistance program. And this is in response to the COVID-19 pandemic, that a lot of low and moderate income renters are not able to pay their rent. And even though the legislature actually the Senate has passed and the House is about to review a bill that would create a moratorium on mortgage payments and rent payments for households that are affected by COVID-19. There's no money attached to it. It simply gives you kind of a hold harmless period for, I don't know how, it's 6 months or till the end of this calendar year. I don't know what the timing is, but you would still then owe that money. So if you had to suspend paying your mortgage or you had to suspend paying your rent, you would then have to make that up once that period of time is over. So CPA funds can be used for an emergency rental assistance program. There's a lot of discussion amongst communities kind of throughout the Commonwealth. Out in Berkshire County, Lenox and Great Barrington have already set something up. I don't know how they did it so quickly. I'm working on a program for the town of Amherst using CPA funds. But the Franklin, in our case, we're in Franklin County. We don't have our own housing authority. The Franklin County Housing Authority, has kind of jurisdiction over most Franklin County towns. And so they've approached, I guess, the seven communities in Franklin County that have CPA money. As I said, I asked Becky to forward me what they had sent, but I think it was just an inquiry, like, would you be interested? So there's a meeting next week that's being a statewide meeting of municipal officials to discuss this. There's a lot of literature that the organization I used to work for, Mass Housing Partnership, has put out, like how you would structure a program and so forth. My kind of initial gut reaction is that well, I don't know what the percentage of renters there are in Shutesbury. Obviously we don't have any large developments, and I have no idea whether or not there'd be any demand for it. So, but it's potentially, if we were to decide that that this does warrant our attention, it could potentially be, totally out of round, an emergency kind of, on an emergency basis, that that we would put something before town meeting. But again, it's a little hard to say what kind of demand we might have in town. And I don't know, maybe some of you have a better sense. I don't know anybody who rents in town. So or actually I just know one person, but I don't know what the need is.
Rita, is the suggestion that since they reached out to the 7 towns, that if we said yes, the money we contributed would go just to Shutesbury?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, well, that's the way I would structure it. Yeah. So, and that also, that if it wasn't used, that there'd be some recapture provision. But the way I'm structuring it with Amherst is, so they're putting up their own CPA money. They're gonna look for somebody to administer the program. So we're designing it so that the town won't administer, but there would be an administrative fee. So part of the funds would have to be for administration. And there's lots of decisions that need to be made. Honestly, I don't know how in any kind of reasonable amount of time we could turn this around, or that they could turn around and design a program and get 7 communities to agree to the program guidelines. Because unless you have uniformity amongst the 7 communities, it would be total chaos. They're not going to run 7 different programs. They would run one program, I assume, with one set of guidelines that all 7 participants, or however many participants there are, would have to agree to.
Is the legislation being considered, is it also an eviction thing as well as?
Yes, yes.
So,
Yeah. I think, I'm not sure, maybe the eviction was done separately. That might have been handled separately. I don't recall, but I just know with the rents and the mortgage forbearance that it was.
Even if this happens, Rita, we wouldn't have to necessarily change the warrant articles, because we could use money out of the budget reserve as well as housing, right?
Yes, we could, but we'd need to have an article that for that specific, for a certain amount of money, that we would So it would have to be an article, just like the article,
It would
like
be a
we don't,
contingent, it would be a contingency article. If this happened, then we would like to spend this amount of money.
I guess. Yeah.
Yes, okay.
Actually, I just saw in Article 3, it says Habitat for Humanity, and it should say Amherst Regional School. I missed that before.
Oops, I did too.
Hold on, tell me where that is.
Article
On
3,
the draft warrant articles.
Oh, okay.
Also, the date for town meeting has to be changed too.
Right, to June 28th.
27.
27th. I kept saying it was April 28th, and then it's April 25th, June 27th.
Rita, I'm sorry, Linda, do you know what's going to actually, what the plan is for the 27th?
No.
No, they don't know.
Too far out to know what's going to happen.
But you're not planning for a meeting that would take place in the presence of a hunkering down situation. Still.
At this point, it's too far out to know really what will be appropriate. So
we're not doing any contingency planning.
Well, the select board discussed it the other night, though, didn't they, Linda, about what some different
they discussed some
possibilities?
but not knowing where we'll, we have to wait. We get closer for there to actually be a plan. The one thing that does have to happen are the elections. There's been no legislation that allows the elections to be postponed past June 30, although there's legislation that allows town meeting to be postponed and for budgetary finances and all that.
Isn't there also legislation for voting by mail somewhere? I thought I saw that someplace.
Yeah, I can't speak to that really.
It's a national discussion. I don't know if it's happening statewide.
I thought it was state. I thought what I saw was state. Maybe I'm mistaken.
Well, this would be our town, our town annual election. Anyway.
So just going back to the articles, I'd be interested in, this is Rita speaking, I'd be interested in hearing from the rest of you about if you have a sense, and obviously it could just be anecdotal, that there might be, that we have families and individuals living in Shutesbury who might have been affected or have been affected by like loss of job or whatever, and who are renters, and that there might be a demand for this. And keeping in mind that we're talking about households that are below 100% of the area median income. That's the CPA statute, and I believe in Shutesbury, don't quote me, that's somewhere in the neighborhood of a family of 4 in the $60,000 range, maybe $65,000, something like that, maximum in household income.
I would think that, this is Linda, and I would think that perhaps Jackie Mendoza, the principal, will have an idea about that. I mean, people with school-age children, but because of their lunch programs and the qualifications for those,
Right.
they may have a sense of households.
Yeah. So if that's the case, I mean, I can get in touch with Jackie. This would take some, fast footwork on our part. Assume the warrant doesn't close until it's like you need the articles, what, like 3 weeks before town meeting, Linda, or 4 weeks? What's the?
Well, Becky has a draft warrant now.
Right.
But it's also hard to know at this point.
I know. But it's sometimes, I mean, we could potentially have another meeting in May. Let's say our research.
I have a question. This is Linda about process. I mean, would the housing authority would be the applicant in this case?
Yes.
And even though we have our out of sequence,
Yes.
an ability to do out of sequence applications.
Yes.
We still have to have a public hearing on it. Yes?
No.
I don't know
No,
about that.
we've had a public hearing. I think under the emergency sort of situation, that something coming out of cycle, it's an emergency, we're under a state of
Right.
emergency.
And we already did our annual public hearing.
Right. We're
Right.
not going to have another public hearing.
Yeah. I just wanted to be clear
Yeah.
in terms of timing. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, but it would mean that we'd have to have an application from the housing authority, and we would have to have another meeting at which we voted, and then, you know, so it would be reviewing an application, voting on an application, probably all in one meeting.
Yeah.
And then getting that article before, you know, to Becky early, well, within the
As soon
time
as
frame.
you can.
Rita?
Yeah,
I have a suggestion, just since there's a lot of work in a small time frame.
yeah,
I mean, conceptually, I think it's a good idea, but you know, it's tight. It seems like if we're going to communicate back to the housing authority, that maybe what we ask them to do is, as part of their application, that they do the research about the need in Shutesbury.
okay.
So they can look it up and provide how many residents within the
Yep.
eligibility. So we don't have to do that.
Yep.
They'll know. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, they probably do, because they have, I mean, they do the block grant application, so the current homeowner rehab program. So that's a great suggestion. How, you know, we can ask them to do that. You know, what do you think, based on census data and American Community Survey data, what do you think that the demand might be? But I guess the other part of the question is this something we are interested in? Because I don't want to ask them to go and do a bunch of research for us if in fact we have like no appetite for using any of our CPA money for an emergency rental assistance program.
It seems to me, I mean, there's two benefits to doing it. You know, I don't know about the numbers, but I mean, one is keeping people in their houses if they're residents, you know, so that's sort of a primary one. But I think also, given the housing situation in Shutesbury, most likely there's of those renters, a high percentage of them are like second, you know, and what's the word? The second apartment thing, you know, so like,
Accessory dwellings.
you know, so that in some regards, if people aren't paying rent, it affects the homeowners, which
That's
are
correct.
residents. And so there's a ripple effect.
Right.
So, because I could hear people saying, well, you know, a lot of the renters, they're here this year and they're gone next year, so we don't want to use that money for them. And I think, well, that might be true, but there's also the benefit that, you know, it's going to affect the homeowners who are doing the renting. Not that that's the primary motivation, but there is benefit to the community to have it be.
Yes.
Same.
So I guess one thing we could do is if we were to, if there seems to be interest and we get some sort of proposal from the housing authority that we think is doable, you know, we could have an up to figure. And I think our participation should probably be predicated upon there being at least a critical mass of communities, of those 7 communities, that there are, you know, at least 3 or 4 communities that are going to do this. Because what we don't want is for us to be paying for administration. If we, you know, we're putting up $50,000, it isn't worth their time to create a program for $50,000. I mean, it's like really, given what I'm doing, the town of Amherst now, which is going to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars of CPA money, it just, you know, again, it wouldn't, from the Housing Authority vantage point, it wouldn't really make any sense to do something unless they got a critical mass. So we could incorporate some contingency language into the article if we were gonna do this.
That seems good.
I agree.
All right, so I'll talk to Becky. As I said, I haven't had any contact from the, and Alan, you haven't seen anything, have you?
No, just looked at my email. I don't.
Yeah.
Who would it have been from?
Well, it would have been the Franklin County Housing and Redevelopment Authority, and there's a guy by the name of Brian McHugh, I think, who's overseeing this. And I only found that out because I got another email from the FERCog about this, and it talked about Franklin County doing this.
I thought I had seen something just before you mentioned it. You talked to Becky, but when I looked back, I couldn't find anything. So it might have been.
Unless it came in through the Shutesbury, through the CPC email, it didn't come. I didn't see it, and I don't get those emails. So, but I have a feeling because Becky mentioned it, I think she must have gotten the inquiry.
Yeah, I haven't seen. I don't think I've seen anything.
I'll circle back with her, and between the two of us, we'll get back to the Housing Authority and determine whether or not this is something. Because again, you know, if he's put out the inquiry and nobody else has stepped up, I wouldn't bother spending any more time on this. But if 3 or 4 other communities are saying, yeah, you know, maybe there's some, they're there and they're gonna think about going to town meeting, then although some of the other town meetings must have happened already, right? Or not? Has everybody been delayed? Like, has Leverett happened?
I don't think anyone's had theirs.
No?
I
Okay, no,
haven't
I didn't
seen-
know Leverett was earlier than us.
They are, but everything got closed down in March.
Yeah, okay. So, so stay tuned. And then I think what I'll discuss with Alan about, I think regardless, we have a meeting scheduled in May, or we will schedule a meeting for May. And then we'll get to everybody in advance if in fact looks like this is moving forward, and
Okay.
Can I ask a big picture question about the warrants? Not about this one, but just
Yeah.
So looking at the attachment that Alan sent out, it says CPC warrant articles, but then it referenced the 2021 budget. And the bylaw change would be a warrant article, and it's not represented here. So is that on another document that's just not attached to, because this is.
Yeah, it's in the draft warrant.
Yeah.
This is Linda, it's in the draft warrant. I saw it on Tuesday.
As a separate art, yeah.
Great.
Separate article.
These are really the CPC financial warrant articles.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, that's good. I didn't know that they had gotten to the town. I mean, that they had made it. Never mind. They had made it to the point where they actually be discussed at some semblance of town meeting sometime this year. The warrant article. I mean, the
Amendment.
yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Good.
Got forwarded to Becky. Yep. Michael, you took care of all that. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Michael.
Okay. So, well, we haven't gone through the Amherst Regional School application,
No, we
and
haven't.
I would assume before we finish voting on these articles, we should do that. So can we kind of table this for the moment and then come back to it as soon as after we've discussed the.
Okay, so let's just, before we do that, I have 2 changes to the current version of the warrant articles, right? June 27th instead of April 25th.
Yeah.
And replace Habitat for Humanity with Amherst Regional High School,
Yes.
Amherst Regional School District.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah.
so those are the 2 we have, right? So let's go on to the Amherst track proposal. Oh, wait a minute, we did that. Was there anything more to do on the warrant articles?
Well, we're going to come back to them, Alan, because I think we should vote on our recommendation on the regional schools application first.
Right, that's what I was just saying. Is there
Yeah.
anything more we need to do before we do that?
No.
Okay, so let's go on to the Amherst proposal. Anyway, before I filled out, actually put numbers down alongside these things on the evaluation form from the master plan, our plan. But are there any general discussions that we'd like to have about the Amherst proposal?
My sense is, I mean, generally it has merit. You know, it's the need is there. I like the fact that it's phased in, and you know, the fact that we're being asked for some just to contribute, but it seems like it's thoughtfully being done, and it's a compelling need. So even though it's out of the town, technically speaking, I think there's a legitimate basis for using some of the funds.
Anybody else? Anybody have any objections to it? Shall we vote?
Sure.
Okay, all those in favor?
Rita,
I
aye.
should do it one at a time.
Okay.
Rita?
Oh, make a motion.
Right.
Okay, so I make a motion that that the committee approve $13,800 for the preliminary engineering for the Amherst Pelham Regional School proposal for the playing fields at the high school.
Yeah, we could use the terminology out of Article 3 on the warrant article.
Yeah, okay, yes.
And we should add Pelham in there because it's technically the Amherst Pelham Regional.
Pelham. Yes, the Amherst Pelham Regional School District.
That'll be on the warrant articles too, right?
Yeah. I'll second that.
Amherst.
That's Michael.
Yep.
Okay. Sorry, you're seconding the proposal, the
Motion. Yes.
Motion to
Okay.
approve the $13,800.
okay, so we'll vote in order.
What's the order, Ellen?
Michael, you're on the right side of my screen, so
Michael DeChiara, aye.
Christopher Donta,
Chris Danta, aye.
Rita Farrell,
Rita Farrell, aye.
Linda Ava Scott,
Aye.
Alan Hansen, aye. Passes unanimously.
Great. So do we want to go back to the articles then?
Um,
Do we need to vote on them?
Yes, I think we should vote on them.
So I'll move to, this is Michael. I'll move to approve the 3 warrant articles as amended tonight in the submission titled Community Preservation Warrant Articles for Annual Town Meeting, June 27th, 2020, FY 2021 budget.
Second?
Second. Oh, Alan seconds?
Well, either way, doesn't matter. I was calling for a second.
All right, a second.
I was going to second it if nobody said anything. Okay, Linda seconds it. We'll vote again. Michael?
Michael DeChiara,
Well,
aye.
actually, wait a minute, before we vote.
Yeah.
Is there any further discussion? Okay, Michael.
Michael DeChiara, aye.
Chris Donta,
Chris Danta, aye.
Rita Farrell,
Rita Farrell, aye.
Linda Ava Scott,
Aye.
and Alan Hansen, aye. Passes unanimously. Now, if we have to add an item to this, we're going to have to revote
Yes.
this anyway. So
Yeah, well, we would revote just as a separate article. We wouldn't have to revote the, we would just add an article. We wouldn't have to revote this list.
Yeah, that's probably true. All right. So the following, the next item on the agenda is to discuss and follow up on the project ideas that came out of the public hearing. Do we want to do that tonight?
I think we should,
We could
Wait.
postpone it.
yeah.
Okay. Anybody objecting to postponing this to our next meeting or the following meeting? No objection, so we'll postpone to the next meeting.
Great leadership by the chairs.
And the next item on the agenda is prepare for town meeting. I'm not sure actually what we're preparing for, but we should have a little discussion. We should have a statement there. Either we broadcast it on Nextdoor or somehow to the town about what our committee is going to be doing there, and then something to read while we're there. We can come up with that, and if we do have another meeting in May, we could deal with it. We could actually go over it then, or I could send it around to everybody. And
Yeah, I think, Alan, last year, my recollection is you came to town meeting later, so I did a very brief overview of what community preservation
right,
is.
is what we
and
did the
then-
previous year too.
Right, and then spoke to the, went through the articles that were going to be before, the warrant articles.
And in terms of outreach communications, I think what I would suggest is whatever the select board comes up with, we should just be part of that. So I know, for example, there's pretty clear feeling that, we should use the official organs of communication, which is town announce and not Nextdoor.
Right.
So there might be a mailing if we wanted to do a flyer with some background on the Amherst Regional School. If there's a one page that they have, we can include, if there's an email. But I think I would look to, Becky and the select board to figure out how they're going to do that and just jump on top of it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't have any objections to that, Michael. When I said Nextdoor, we use whatever lines of communication are open available to us, usually. So yes, I agree. We should use whatever we have at our disposal to get the word out.
so Linda, in the next newsletter, not the one that's being, that's going out now, but then there's the subsequent one for, that has the warrant in it.
Okay, so just where we are right now, Janice is working on this is Linda, and Janice is working on the finalizing the newsletter. It is going to go out, at this point, the plan is that there'll be a town announce, maybe a Code Red General, to let folks know that the newsletter will be available on the website.
Okay, so it's not going to physically go out. There's no mailing.
We're in the process of figuring out how to mail to people who don't have broadband. But we're not going to do a bulk mailing. We can't do a bulk mailing because that is heavily dependent upon volunteers, and we can't do that. So that's where this sits. Annual town meeting mailing, again, we don't know where we're going to be and what's going to be possible in terms of actual physical mailing of documents.
Okay,
Right. So again, I think the announcement should go out both on town announce and Nextdoor, because a lot of people I know don't even bother with town announce.
So I'm curious what we would be announcing.
you're just saying providing the background information.
Right.
Okay.
Whatever we would do at the meeting, I think we should.
Yeah, I mean, I would rather see it just go out under the town guys and not on Nextdoor. I think Nextdoor, nobody really wants to be conducting town business on Nextdoor, and I think that makes a lot
I
of
really disagree, Rita.
sense.
I think it would reach more people that way.
But
But it's not an official town. I mean,
It
Nextdoor is
doesn't matter.
privately owned. I think, Alan, the thing that's challenging there is whatever gets put out, if it's commented on, then the awkwardness of who responds and how it gets responded, it's just really awkward because it's not a posted meeting and who's representing, and depending on the issue, people have strong opinions, and
You can put it out as an announcement, Michael, and they don't need to.
Well, I think you could put it on as an announcement that the community preservation, see the town website. And I think that's what people should be doing. I think that's where they should be getting.
That's what we did the last time for the meeting, when we put it out on a couple different places.
I think we can state it, but that's it. But I wouldn't put anything other than that, if I were going to put anything into Nextdoor at all. It's, it's like with the Board of Health, they have been saying, we're going to have all communications through the town website. And I think we need to be encouraging people to sign up for Town Announce. I know after that last push that a lot of people did, and it's just the best way to kind of get uniform information.
But the Board of Health also put it on Nextdoor.
But they're not going to anymore. I think they're not. I believe there was some follow-up that basically
I really don't understand what the problem is with Nextdoor in the town. I mean, can somebody explain it to me?
Yes, I can. To give it a simple explanation is that, well, A, it's not an official town website, and as Michael said, the issues about comments, etc. But the other factor is that Nextdoor is a profit-making organization, so there's that piece as well. So that's why it encouraging people to use Town Announce as the official way to get town information, and helping people to use the website more as a place to go to get town information.
I'm going to repeat my argument then, because I know, after talking to a lot of people about, particularly about our committee, is that there are a lot of people in town who do not look at Town Announce, but do look at Nextdoor. That's my only comment.
So
I don't understand why we're taking the position of not doing it when we're reaching more people. Well, it just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, I would say the solution that Rita put forth makes a lot of sense, which is that if you put on something on Town Announce, basically you're saying, here's the URL and the information on the town website, click here to find out more. So you're getting in front of eyeballs, but you're sending them to the official place where it resides. Right. I think that's a good solution.
So in terms of the CPC information for annual town meeting,
I think we want to have some background information, Linda.
Right.
So,
well, and then how to best, I wonder, can we put something on our page? Can we put something like Susie could put like a little bit on the homepage to direct people to the CPC webpage? Just not knowing whether we're going to have physical papers for people, but if we can direct people to our webpage for the description that would is often put on a colored sheet of paper for annual town meeting.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I don't see why we couldn't do that.
Yeah, I mean, Linda, the way it's set up now is there can be created a page for each town meeting. So like if you look at past town meetings, there's a page that has the warrant article and then the minutes and stuff. So, I mean, I haven't talked to Susie about it, but if we created a town meeting page, it would just could be really expanded this year in terms of the front end.
Okay, yeah. I mean, that's
budget, all the colored stuff.
To have, because of where we're at, to actually be starting to use something like an actual town meeting page. I know Susie's got an awful lot going on right now.
You think?
Well, tell her if she wants, I can help with that. I'd be happy to do it.
Would you be willing to reach out to her?
Sure.
Directly, Michael?
I could do that.
I think that would just be helpful.
That's great.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
And so that way, then we would have the CPC articles, and we could then have a description of Article X, and here's the background article. You know, this is the division, the $5,100. You know, this is what's required by statute. We do this annually, and then a little bit of background information on the regional school application.
And Rita, if you wanted to get really fancy, not too
Yes.
fancy, but you know, one can record Zoom, so you could do a 5-minute presentation saying the stuff that you would say in front of town meeting, and we could put a link right on that. And people wouldn't have to read anything; they just listen.
Be a star. Okay. Well, let's find out how we're doing this, and yeah, Ellen or I could do it. We'd have a script.
It's your 15 seconds.
Yeah, fame.
YouTube can be a YouTube. That doesn't come out exactly right, does it? YouTube can be a YouTube.
You
star.
too. YouTube on Zoom.
Okay. Is there anything else we didn't think about?
Any other items not reasonably anticipated?
That one, yeah, that, number 6.
Right. I can't think of anything. Anybody else?
Nope.
Top of my head, no.
Yeah.
So shall we adjourn?
Oh, well, I did think of one. When is our next meeting?
I think it's May 21st would be.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Okay.
I think. Hey, Linda, I think I talked to Jeff today. I think he's planning on a planning board meeting that night.
That's a Thursday.
So May 21st is Thursday.
Yeah, I don't. Maybe he just got his dates wrong.
The next planning board meeting, regular would be May 11th.
Mhm. Okay, maybe he just gave me the wrong date.
Well, a Thursday would be an odd night.
Yeah, no, I agree. I just talked to him this morning. I could have sworn that's what he said, but maybe I got it totally wrong. So we should plan on the 21st then. That's
Okay. All right, so May
Okay.
21st, and if there's anything that comes up vis-a-vis the emergency rental assistance program, we'll get information out in advance of that meeting, and it's attached to the agenda for the meeting.
Yep.
That good? So I'll make a motion.
That would come through you, Rita? Do you think?
Yeah,
The
well,
information about the Amherst thing will come through you.
yes.
Okay, so, okay.
So I make a motion to adjourn the meeting?
second.
All in favor? Michael?
Aye. Oh, Michael DeCiara, aye.
Chris?
Chris Dauta, aye.
Rita?
Rita Farrell, aye.
Linda?
Hi.
Ellen Hansen, aye. We're done.
Great. Thanks, everybody.
Great.
Very
All right.
efficient.
Thank you, everyone.
All right. We'll see you.
Good night, everybody.
Have a
Stay
good night.
safe.
Okay. Night.
Bye.